Shelby Cobra 427 Mark III. The original Shelby Cobra only raced for one season before its limitations became apparent. A new chassis was needed, and the Mark III was born. This version came with wider fenders, coil spring suspension, and double wishbones at each corner. Paired with a Ford FE 427 cubic inch side oiler V8 and a single Holley 780 CFM 4-barrel carburetor, the Mark III delivered 485 horsepower and reached speeds up to 185 miles per hour. Unfortunately, the MK3 didn't get approval for the 1965 race season. Of the 100 planned units, only 56 were built, 31 of which were modified to be street legal. Shelby Mustang GT350. In 1964, the Ford Mustang was a sales sensation, but under its sleek exterior was a reworked Falcon. It wasn't the performance machine Lee Iacocca envisioned, so Carroll Shelby was tasked with transforming the pony into a racehorse. The result was the GT350, a Mustang completely overhauled by Shelby. He removed the rear seats, added racing suspension, Coney shocks, 11-inch disc brakes, a Detroit locker differential, and Goodyear Blue Dot tires. With a tuned 289 V8 producing 306 horsepower, the GT350 wasn't just fast, it was race-ready for the SCCA. Only 562 units were made in its first year, all in Wimbledon white with iconic blue racing stripes, turning the GT350 into a legend. Shelby Mustang GT500. Launched in 1967, the Shelby GT500 marked a major step forward, not meant for the track but for the open road. Based on the second-generation Mustang, it featured a 428 Police Interceptor V8 under a bold hood, with real-world output nearing 400 horsepower and 440 pound-feet of torque. Unlike the track-focused GT350, the GT500 was a true grand tourer, powerful, comfortable, and built for long journeys. With aggressive styling, Thunderbird taillights, and a more refined interior, it was the Shelby you could drive daily yet still packed a punch. Shelby Series 1. In 1998, Carroll Shelby decided to write a new chapter of his legacy, stepping out from Ford's shadow to create a car of his own, the Shelby Series 1. Without support from Ford, he partnered with GM and built a bold machine that bore his unmistakable personal touch. The Series 1 featured a lightweight body made from aluminum and carbon fiber, advanced aerodynamic design, and all the amenities of a high-performance luxury vehicle. Under the hood lay a 244 cubic inch Oldsmobile Aurora V8 engine, rated at 320 horsepower, with two available upgrade options. One of these included a supercharger package that boosted output to 450 horsepower, allowing drivers to fully unleash their passion for performance. Shelby Cobra 289. The first Shelby Cobra wasn't a design marvel. It had a thin aluminum body, a flexible ladder frame, outdated rear suspension from the 1950s, and almost zero aerodynamics. But the blend of European finesse with American muscle sparked a revolution. With a 289 cubic inch V8 engine delivering 271 horsepower and 312 pound-feet of torque, it transformed an ordinary British sports car into a speed predator, capable of taking down any rival. The Cobra 289 wasn't perfect, but its success was a triumph of development, a perfect blend of British agility and American muscle, paving the way for the legendary 427 version. 1967, Shelby Mustang GT500 Super Snake. In 1967, Shelby had two beasts, the GT350 for the track and the GT500 for the road. But when Goodyear needed a showcase for its new tire line, Shelby saw an opportunity, and never did anything halfway. A Le Mans winning Ford GT47 V8, and stuffed it into a GT500 body, upgraded the suspension and transmission, and birthed the GT500 Super Snake. It could hit 170 miles per hour, a jaw-dropping number for a street car back then. Shelby planned to build 50 units, but the cost, twice that of a standard GT500, killed the project. Only one was ever made, making it one of the rarest and most legendary Mustangs of all time. 1966 Shelby Cobra Super Snake. The Shelby Cobra was already iconic, but the Super Snake was Carroll Shelby's wildest creation. Taking the ferocious 427 Cobra, Shelby added not one, but two Paxton superchargers, pushing power output to an insane 800 horsepower. 0 to 60 miles per hour came in just over 3 seconds with a top speed near 200 miles per hour, all in a street-legal package. Only 2 Super Snakes were ever built, one for Shelby himself and one for comedian Bill Cosby, who returned the car after one terrifying drive. Tragically, the other owner, Tony Maxey, was killed in a crash while driving it. In 2007, Shelby's personal Super Snake sold at auction for $5.5 million, making it the most expensive American car ever sold at the time. Ford GT40. Ferrari turned its back. Ford got mad, and thus the GT40 was born, not just to join the game, but to rewrite the rules. With help from Carroll Shelby, the GT40 didn't just beat Ferrari, it crushed them at Le Mans in 1966 with a legendary 1-2-3 finish. And that was just the beginning of a 4-year winning streak from 1966 to 1969 at the world's toughest endurance race, cementing the GT40 as a living legend on the track. Powered by a monstrous 427 cubic inch V8 and refined by Shelby American, the race version of the GT40 produced 380 horsepower, roaring its way to victory and delivering one of the greatest revenge stories in automotive history. By the end of 1969, the GT program was shut down, and only 107 GT40s were ever built, ending a short but glorious chapter of racing dominance. Shelby Cobra Daytona Coupe. In the early 1960s, American automakers were often embarrassed on Europe's endurance racing circuits, dominated by Ferrari. Enter the Shelby Cobra Daytona Coupe, built in 1964 for one purpose: beat Ferrari at their own game. With radical aerodynamics and a modified 289 V8, putting out 385 horsepower, the Daytona Coupe was Shelby's ultimate weapon. In the 1965 season, it won 9 out of 12 races, making Shelby the first American automaker to win an FIA World Championship. Only 6 Daytona Coupes were ever built, yet their legacy is unmatched. In 2014, the first of the 6 was officially declared a National Historic Vehicle in the U.S. Which do you think is the most iconic Shelby car? Leave a comment and share your thoughts, and now don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you won't miss our upcoming videos.